Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed.
She was looking kinda dumb with her finger and her thumb in the shape of an L on her forehead.
Well, the years start coming and they don't start coming. Hit the ground running. It says not to live for fun. Your brain gets smart, but your head gets dumb. So much
to see, so much to do. So what's wrong with taking the back streets? You never know if I don't go. You'll never shine if you don't glow.
So we only got 4 episodes this week.
Yeah, so we can.
So it was nice and light.
It's gonna be quickie. It's gonna be quickie episode. Akudama Drive is it ended like we expected.
Oh, that's Ian. I'm Alex, by the way, in case we needed to do the introductions, but
yeah, and this is the Protagonist. It's a podcast where we pick seasonal anime shows and then we talk about them.
Yeah, and this is the second to last episode before the Fall 2020 award ceremony where Akudama Drive gets anime of the season, and then maybe some other awards win the minor stuff.
Don't be disappointed if no one from Assault Lily Bouquet wins Best Girl, because we don't remember most of their names.
Even though they tell you every episode.
They tell you in text, and it's like, I gotta read the subtitles, but I always gotta look at the text, because everyone's always fucking constantly talking, and they got subtitles on subtitles, and I gotta pick what I gotta read. I don't like that. Stop.
Also, it's multiple people's names you gotta read all at once, because they're always in groups.
And it's not just their names.
Here's this entire legion. Here's all their names.
Yeah, here's all their names.
You have 2 seconds.
Here's all their ranks, too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not even just their names. It's like, oh, this is their name. This is the legion they're a part of. This is their weapon. I don't know.
Yeah, it sucks. I hate it. Don't do that. Don't do that shit.
But yeah, the final episode of Akudama Drive, the first show we're talking about. Who baby?
You know what? I think this one pulled it back.
Because the last episode, the one with Hacker Boy, was just kind of like, whatever. It was just a pretty, I don't know, it was kind of a boring episode.
Yeah, because I feel like hacking episodes in particular are always pretty fucking boring.
Yeah, unless you have a Matrix space, like the show's about a Matrix, not just like, I'm the hacking character, so I have a virtual self when I do hacking.
Yeah,
you ever watch the show Code Lyoko?
Yeah, I love Code Lyoko.
That was a cool show. It might not be cool anymore. I haven't seen it since I was a kid, but it was cool from what I remember.
Here's the thing about Code Lyoko. It will never not be cool as long as we just don't watch it ever again. It might
still be cool. I want to see if it was cool.
I don't know. You're playing with some dangerous nostalgia right there. I remember the 3D animated graphics of that show, and I don't know how well that's gonna hold up.
It went with I think it was a French series.
Yeah.
When they were at school and stuff, they were regularly animated, and then when they were in the virtual world, they were CG.
And the CG is
it probably
not
doesn't
good.
hold up.
It's not good. But the show itself was really cool.
But there are shows with worse CG that people love.
That's true. I'd say Assault Lily Bouquet is worse CG in it, to be totally honest.
It's sparse, thankfully. But Akudama Drive
has it does have a little bit of CG.
But they hide it.
They hide it and they use it well. CG is a good resource if you use it sparingly.
It's as I predicted. Nobody makes it.
Everyone dies.
And they really do sort of tease it right in the opening, because I remember always on Swindler's parts of the opening, you would see her with like a cross behind her.
Yeah. They foreshadowed a lot of stuff in the OP that was I like little touches like that. I think that's neat.
But yeah, so this episode is mostly just I think the one thing that threw me for a loop is I figured Swindler would be the last one alive just because she's the protagonist.
Yeah, but she's not.
Courier.
Courier, the world's coolest man, is the last one alive.
Also, I really like how Swindler gets her own Akudama intro card. that all the other ones got at the beginning.
Yep, because she has finally accepted her place as Swindler.
And it's a really cool scene where, so the last episode ended with them blowing up the Shinkansen, and Courier's arm is all busted up, and Swindler's leg is broken. And since her leg is broken, she's kind of dead weight now, and she realizes that. So she forces Courier to take back the 500 yen, and basically pays him for the last job of getting the kids to that place that Hacker mentioned to them.
Because it's a 500 yen coin that changes lives.
Yeah, because he's like, no, I don't want to take it. Dropped money's bad luck. And she's like, oh, you want to talk about bad luck? The whole reason I'm an S-rank Akudama is because of this coin.
Which, you know what? That leads for a bad weekend. You picked up a 500 yen coin and you got roped into an elaborate heist. Now there's a shoot to kill order on you.
And she ends up, because she's Swindler, and she fully accepted herself as Swindler, she does one last big swindle where she sets up a camera to record her as she kind of goes out on her crutch to go talk to the executioners and ask them to, like, help, I'm just an ordinary citizen.
Because she's resolved to be she's going to hold them off while Courier and the kids escape.
Yep, and as she does, and immediately they easily can check their database, and they're like, oh, that's just Swindler.
She just cut her hair, and she's got different clothes on.
And so one of the Akudama rushes her down, stabs her, and kills her.
The chick who was kind of a bitch in the last episode, who was like, I don't want to have to dry clean my shirt again after killing all these civilians.
I like how, too, she was like, oh, she's smiling? That's so creepy. Even that, it's like, lady, you just mass murdered a whole crowd of people.
Yeah. There's the economy of scale, or whatever. I don't know. But Swindler, she kills her.
And everybody watches it on video.
Yeah, because...
And to all of them, it looks like she was just saying, hey, I'm just a normal person, please help me. And then the executioners cut her down. So everyone gets really angry at the executioners.
Because I freaking knew it when I saw Hacker's symbol at the bottom corner of her phone in the last episode. I knew that was going to have something to do with it. Turns out he hacks the system, he doctors the footage a little bit, and releases it literally everywhere. And he also, I guess, I don't know what the deal with Usagi-chan and Same-kun is, but he hacks them. Because we see his symbol on their T-shirts.
Yeah,
and basically they're the ones.
Instead, because they're like the government information thing, and then they start going, "Hey, the executioners are just cutting down whoever they want. Man, it's probably not going to be so crazy if they start coming after you next."
Yeah, the executioners are bad people, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
Then there's a cool scene where Courier ends up getting forced, like, routed right to the executioner's headquarters.
Yeah, and where he meets Judi Dench.
Yep, Judi Dench sicks all the executioners on him, and it's a really cool fight because he's just, like, driving around, shooting at him. There's one chick that tries to, like, lunge at him, but then brother blocks it, and then he just, caps her, just domes her right after. But he does get stabbed with that, which looks like it goes right through his liver.
I will always love the fight scenes like this in this show. I think they're always super good.
And it looks like Courier's finished because now he's just taken a really bad stab wound, and all of the all the executioners are ready to all pounce on him. And then a little girl walks up with just a bag, and nervous executioner dude's like, what do we do? Do we just... And Judi Dench is like, get her out of here. And he goes over like, hey, little girl, are you all right? Do you need me to take you somewhere to, like, a station or something? And then she just takes out a gun and shoots him right in the chest.
Yeah. This child point blank shoots the nervous kid, and then she gets taken down by Eye Patch Executioner.
Then, Eye Patch Girl is holding her down, and she goes, why did you kill my dad? Why did you kill my mom? My parents were the nicest people in the world. And then you notice all of a sudden a bunch of Molotov cocktails start being chucked at all the executioners, and then an angry mob of people shows up.
Yeah, one of them
gets,
gets
a huge angry mob, like, that way outnumbers them.
And this is better than the other one because instead of that other shitty mob that was angry at the Akudama, this one is specifically directed towards the executioners.
Everyone knows when you're angry at the government, you're a lot stronger.
That's how it works, man. Find me a historical event where that wasn't the case. You can't. It's not possible. But Courier decides to take advantage of the new chaos to
and then
fire his railgun and blow up the whole building.
And the OP starts playing while he does this, and he blows up what the equivalent. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be the Tokyo Tower.
I think so.
Like they built around it. And so he blows up the Tokyo Tower and then just starts driving up it and uses it almost as a ramp to go further.
And it looks real sick, and the OP is playing, and it's just a great sequence.
And then they end up traveling, and they're going along the outskirts of the city. And Courier stops at some tree that's right on the edge where he notices he doesn't really have a lot of time left. And all the kids have to do is cross the mountains, but they're still being chased by a couple of drones.
So Courier is going to do some badass bike foo and take out some freaking unmanned drones.
He tells the kids to go, and then he goes back and he fights them. And it's awesome because it's just a cool fight. Everything about Courier's fights are animated really well. And one of his railguns, like is it like a fork? Is that what it's called?
Basically,
it's like a tuning fork that they shoot out of.
Yeah, basically the way his railgun functions is like...
It's like two metal rods. One of the rods is destroyed.
Yeah, because his bike is overheating and he's taking damage and shots from the drones, and you know he's going to die, but can he do it? Can he do it, though?
And as he's fighting them, he takes down all but one, and then he's really dazed because he's almost out of blood. And he's popping a few shots with his gun, but it's really not enough. But then Swindler's phone, the hacker program on there, goes off and basically shuts down all the technology in all of Kansai.
Yep. I don't want to call it an EMP because it's not like a pulse, but the hacking shuts down all the electronics. Yep. And that kind of stuns the drone long enough because Courier is charging the railgun.
Yep.
And he uses his robot arm.
Yeah, so he notices because he only has one rod that the railgun's kind of erratic and can't aim properly, so he uses his other arm, his robot arm, as the other rod to shoot it.
It's badass.
It's so cool.
It destroys his arm, though.
It takes out the last drone, though, and he dies with a peaceful smile on his face.
He also gives the coin to the kids. Because that's a coin that saves lives.
It changes lives.
It changes lives. Sorry, that's right. It did not save Swindler's life. It did probably the exact opposite.
In fact, anyone who really gets that coin seems to have died so far, so I don't necessarily believe that coin is very lucky.
Yeah, the first thing they should do is either spend that coin or just like dump it somewhere, because it's not a lucky coin.
This series felt like a really cool action film. No one really stays too long. It's just like, hey, here's your heist crew, your suicide squad, and then by the end, everyone's dead. Everyone has their purpose to the plot, and then they're gone.
Yeah. It's a pretty tight screenplay. There's not a lot of unnecessary feeling shit, because even when it slows down, it seems like at least most of the time, stuff comes back. And it's just the action set pieces are always badass. It's just cool.
It's just a really cool action movie.
Yeah. Even the episode titles are named after famous movies.
Yeah, isn't it like one of the first episodes called like Reservoir Dogs or something?
Yeah, it goes 7, then Reservoir Dogs, then I'll look it up. The Shining. Yeah, The Shining is the one where
Cutthroat.
It's the Cutthroat episode. Let's see, what do we got here? Yeah, it's 7, Reservoir Dogs, Mission Impossible, Speed, Dead Man Walking, Brother, The City of Lost Children, Black Rain, The Shining, Babel, War Games, and then the final episode is called Akudama Drive.
It's named after the show itself.
It is. And you know what? They earned it.
I think it's because it's not like a deep show or anything. It's just good at what it does. Sometimes something can just be like, hey, this is just a cool action movie. It's simple and it's good at it. Kind of like John Wick.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh man, John Wick is awesome. It's not deep or philosophical on any level. It's just they killed the man's dog. Now he's gonna kill everybody, and he does it in a super cool way.
Yeah. I think it's funny that you mentioned John Wick because I literally watched the first John Wick movie before coming to record.
Was it because of Cyberpunk? You were like, oh man, I want to watch John Wick because of all this Keanu.
No, I woke up this morning and I was like, I want to watch some form of media where a lot of people just fucking die. Oh, I know why. It was because I just watched the final episode of one of our other shows, The Day I Became God. And I was like, I want to watch something that's much better in which a lot of people die.
I think Akudama Drive, too, is one of those shows where you could just kind of recommend it to anybody. Yeah. It's not like you need to be into this specifically, because, again, it just feels like a cool action movie.
I would say, actually, no, because since it's on Funimation, they censor a lot of they do that on a lot of other surfaces, too, but they censor a lot of the, like, actual super hardcore gore, so nothing's really all that visually offensive either. So even someone who's squeamish could probably get away with watching it. This is good shit. There's something in it for everyone.
I'd say like the goriest scenes are just when Hoodlum and Doctor kill each other. Because for some reason that's a lot of like jugular cutting.
It is. There is some jugular stuff. But if you've stuck with us this season, you know when and where to avoid the jugular stuff.
It's just good show, good characters. Everyone was simple and fit like an archetype where it's like, oh, besides like obviously Swindler, but it just worked. You know, something simple can just work sometimes. Like you don't need anything more than that.
I think that sometimes one of the downfalls with not even just anime, but TV, movies, media in general, is people want to bring too many complex layers into something that they can't really handle, and they get overwhelmed. And it's not like they try to make something really artful and nice and good on every level, but sometimes what you really need to do to make something really good is just keep it simple.
Yeah,
because like,
what was Brawler's thing? He was really strong and liked to fight. That's all he needed to be.
Exactly, that was his archetype, and he was still well written enough to be an enjoyable character, because like, who's he team up with? His best buddy is Hoodlum, because what's Hoodlum do? Hoodlum talks hot shit about himself all the time.
I like,
so of course they're best
Cutthroat
buddies
too, because I think that's the neat thing about it. It's like, oh, with Cutthroat, it's like he is in so many anime, his character archetype, just the crazy like, ooh, blood, killing.
100%.
I like how when he's on their side, it's great because he can just like cut through waves of enemies. But when he's against them, it's really scary because, oh shit, this was usually the guy we had fight that guy.
And now he's the bad guy. Yeah, everyone is.
I saw an interesting post that was like Akudama Drive, how it started, and it's just like the cover photo of all the characters there, how it ended, and just no characters are there anymore.
It's accurate. The best memes are written with accuracy.
But yeah, I would definitely say out of this entire season, this one has been my favorite and is the strongest contender for anime of the season. Although it's not like there's a lot of competition.
Yeah, but I agree. It's a very good series with a lot in it to like, a lot of well-written characters that even though they adhere to their archetypes pretty strongly, whoever wrote this did a good enough job so that
it's just fun. There's no great. It's just a cool action series. There's no really big message to it. It's just have fun. I guess if you want to try to dig out a message, the cops are the real criminals.
The cops and the criminals are the real criminals, and also the people are also criminals a lot of the time.
Everybody's a criminal.
We're all Akudama now. That's it. That's the message.
We are Akudama now.
It had to end at some point, but now we got to talk about Assault Lily Bouquet.
So, Assault Lily Bouquet, very mediocre.
This is like the definition of okay.
It is mediocre Yuri bait.
The Yuri bait is strong.
It's strong, but it's just Yuri bait. They never really, go for it.
Which is also kind of disappointing.
It's like, come on, man.
No half measures in Yuri media. Either go for gold or don't bother.
That's Yuri media in general, though. Everything's half measures, where it's like, hey, the most you'll get is maybe some hand-holding on the last episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, they fight the Huge, and everyone gets together and essentially plays volleyball with a giant magic sphere. With everybody, we get every character involved. Roll for all of them when the gacha game comes out. Look at all of the characters. You did not waste your money. They were here.
They were here in the final moment. You got to see at least some of them hit the Neunvelt Magi ball.
And then they use the Danslef, and Yu and Riri together cut the robot in half. And then we get to a quick sequence of them all hanging out at the school while it's all destroyed. And then they're like, all right, we're immediately, because we have to bum rush the ending, you have to now go to the bottom of the ocean and attack the Huge at the bottom of the nest.
Yeah, this happens like halfway through the episode, and it's like, oh.
And they go and do that. It's really quick. They just they Mary Poppins y'all down to the bottom.
It seems really easy. Because, like, Scientist Girl is like, all right, we took the Danslef. And I was like, that shit is still not destroyed. That weapon is invincible, dude. But they upload, like, a ultra... Also, we learned that there's a thing called the Ultra Huge, which is right at the core of the nest.
Yeah, it basically looks like a Titan from its skeleton.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just kind of sleeping down at the bottom, and their whole thing is to go and stab it with the Danslef because they put a code in it that's like essentially a virus that's going to make the Huge die.
Yeah.
And they go and do that. They just sink right down to the bottom because apparently it's got like a massive hole, so they're not actually in the water. And then they float down on an umbrella. Like I said, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
Cause all the gadgets they have to have are super adorable looking.
Yep. And when they end up stabbing it and floating up to the surface to protect themselves from drowning, their clothes turn into a bubble shield.
I like the gadgets. I think the clothes gadgets is a kind of a neat idea, and I wish that had been a little bit more developed. But then again, I'm wishing for any kind of development from the series at all. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Then Yu and Riri are floating up inside the bubble, and both of them are in their underwear holding hands.
Because their clothes became the bubble shield.
Yeah, then they have a little heart-to-heart talk where it's like, hey, look how Yuri this situation is. Is anything going to happen? Nope.
No.
All right, they're back to the surface. Everything's fine. The end. Play the gacha game. See you next time.
I'm glad they didn't do the meme ending where like some dude in a suit comes in and he's only shown from the neck down. And it's like, this is the new tactician we brought in. I'm glad they didn't hard tie it to the gacha game, but I would have laughed really hard if they did. Like,
yeah, it's a show that's it's advertisement for the gacha game, so it's hard to shit on it in that regard. It's not like terrible, but it's not very good.
Yeah,
it just kind of is. It felt like, hey, you would look at it and think, oh, this might be the next Symphogear. Let me watch this, and then after you watch it, you're like, oh, it's not.
And then it's super not.
I guess I'm glad that Symphogear came out before gacha games were a thing, because it has a gacha game, but the gacha game came after.
I'd say that's an improvement to the formula. I'd rather have people make good shows and then make gacha games about the good shows. Although,
yeah. There's too many people. They were just kind of giving a base like, oh, this is the world, this is the characters. It's neat, huh? Aren't they cute?
And that's not what I want in a show. I want, like, at least a little bit of depth. Cause
to be honest, if I knew it was going to be advertisement for a gacha game, I never would have picked it in the first place. I thought it was just, hey, this is an original thing.
Yeah. We didn't know. We got jebaited into
We did not
watching an
know.
advertisement.
And it's not even probably going to get a localization anytime soon, so an advertisement
no.
for a game we can't play. I guess we could play it, but, we don't speak Japanese, so...
I don't think either of
More
us
so, we don't
speaks...
read Japanese, which is the harder one.
Exactly. Neither of us is good enough in that regard to play a Japanese gacha game. That's a fucking lot of kanji. Like, I like being able to read hiragana and katakana, but kanji is still way over my head most of the time. So I look at it and I'm like, I can kind of read some of this, and then there's just large chunks of
Kanji's stupid.
mystery.
Kanji's stupid because it has multiple readings. It's Chinese characters, and the Chinese only have one reading for their characters. Just one.
Yeah. I don't know why in Japanese kanji has to have multiple readings for the same characters. That fucking sucks. Why you gotta do that?
I think they're aware that their language is overly complicated because they seem to be trying to simplify it more and more.
I think that's a smart move because
like anytime they add new words to their dictionary or anything, they don't do kanji for them anymore.
Which is a smart decision.
It's like, hey, what if we just use katakana for everything now for all of our loan words?
Yeah, we'll just use that.
It's
and it'll make things
easier,
a lot
more phonetic.
I think that'll make Japanese a lot more accessible to people in the future. And I think that's a smart decision, especially if you're trying to bring in, I mean, not right now, but at some point, if you're trying to bring in like tourism, culture studies, shit like that.
Yeah, it would just be easy if people are having the choice, like, do I want to learn Japanese, which has 3 alphabets, one of which is basically got multiple readings for each character, or I could learn Chinese, where, yeah, it's a big alphabet, but every character only has 1 reading, and the only annoying thing I gotta learn is the tones.
Yeah, Japanese is a very phonetic language.
Yeah, Chinese has the tones, which is a pain in the ass.
That's why I never really delved into it. I was a German kid.
That's a pretty phonetic language.
Yeah, but it's a lot easier, in my opinion.
Well, no, phonetic is good. Phonetic means it's easy, like, it's not like French, where French is like unphonetic, where it's just, you don't pronounce most of the sounds in it.
Yeah, my
French
brain...
is just vowel sounds, and just you don't have to really pronounce the end of the word. My
brain translated phonetic into the Chinese version. I was like, there's a little bit of that. But French is like...
Apologies to the Deezer fans.
Yeah, but French is hard, man. Like, there's a video, I'm 150% sure it's fake, but there's a New York taxi cab driver counting to 100 in French, and it's so fucking funny. He's
I can kind of read it a little bit. Like, it's the reverse Japanese, where I can read French better than I can speak it, because it's just like, you look at a word and you're like, all right, I'm going to read that as it's written. No, you're saying that completely wrong. Well, why do you have those letters here if you're not going to use them?
Why have the letters if you're not going to use them, dude? That's pointless.
Yeah, like, that's why if I have something written in French, I'm like, I can read this. I can tell you what it means. I can't say it.
Language
everyone's
is
going to be like, well,
bonkers, man.
It is. Stupid, that whole Tower of Babel situation. We were all on the same page, and then, boom.
And then God had to fucking ruin it. Because he was like,
I don't like towers that high.
I don't like towers. I don't like everyone speaking the same
code.
Language. Ugh. What do we got left?
The Day I Became God.
Oh, good. Another show that has a...
This one also was pretty mediocre, but this one was more offensively mediocre, whereas at least Assault Lily Bouquet, I'm like, there's some stuff there. It's like, it's more stupid, at least, Assault Lily Bouquet. Like, you weren't expecting anything, like, smart from it, or anything at all. You were just like, cute girls fight monsters.
If you can look at the poster for Assault Lily Bouquet and look at all those cute girls in Lolita maid outfits and expect to get an intelligently written series, you're not watching the right media, friend.
Whereas,
The Day I Became God,
they were like, oh, this is going to be a super sad series, and it wasn't. It was stupid. It was, honestly, this show is close It's not because I could at least see like nothing. We weren't going to get a payoff a couple of episodes ago. This
Yeah.
almost came close to The Price of Smiles in terms of it, like its crippling mediocrity.
I don't think anything will genuinely reach the price of smiles,
Only because
but
The
I
Price of
think,
Smiles had that like hint of hope. Like it had that solid second episode where it's like, oh, Joshua's dead, and you're like, oh, and then you keep going thinking, nah, they're gonna do something at the end. The ending is gonna make this all worth it. The day I became God, I knew like these past three episodes that he's been at the hospital. I'm like, nah, I'm good.
yeah, I think the hospital segment, if you just cut that out of the show, period, I think it would actually improve the ending. But they don't do that. And instead, we get this just long, meandering fucking, I don't know, characters are making weird decisions. The main character is, I feel like his
They set up
IQ
that
is,
lady to be kind of a bad guy, but she's not really a bad guy. It's just weird.
yeah, she starts as just like a nurse. And then in the next episode, all of a sudden, she's this big bad guy. And now in this episode, she's like kind of fine again, I
Also, she
guess.
doesn't. Hina doesn't want Yoha to touch her, but yet the second he's leaving, she's ready to give him a hug, even though any other physical thing causes her to like recoil in fear. It's just like so weird.
And there's like the cards with people's faces on them. Every time it comes to his face, she like knocks the card away.
And if
And
anything, it feels more on like comfortable than sad, just with like how much they're really like trying with it to be like, hey, remember this girl we spent all these episodes making showing you how like cute and lively she is? Well, now here's her as like nearly vegetable version. Aren't you sad about that? I'm more like, why did you do that? It seems like needless suffering.
yeah, that's kind of fucked up of you to do. And now you're putting us through it. It's like the show expects us to treat this new degenerative disorder, Hina, the same as the other one when it's clearly that is not the case and that should not be the case. It it
It
it
makes me kind of think of like when you're put in like an awkward situation where it's like like if you were actually someone with like no real sense or training of like how to deal with someone with this kind of disability, and you were just put in the room, it's like, all right, isn't this sad? And you're just kind of like, okay, yeah, I guess it's a little uncomfortable. This is kind of awkward.
yeah, I think that's the best possible way to sum up the ending of this show. It's like being put in this incredibly uncomfortable situation that everyone else treats as normal, and we're the only ones who are like, this is weird.
And then he brings her back, and everyone's all like, "Hey, yay, happy!" And I'm like, this is weird.
Yeah, no one's gonna address the fact that this person basically is gonna need specialized care for the rest of her life. And it's not all right. Yuta is in love with her. I find it distressing that the rest of the show is they're just gonna be in a relationship forever now. It's like something about that makes me very uncomfortable and I
Because
don't
it's like
like it.
she's clearly like get the mental faculties as she is of like a toddler.
Yeah, and even still, she's like in what, middle school? And now she's age regressed mentally. So it's troubling.
And then his whole goal is going to be that he's going to become a doctor to figure out how to fix her illness.
Even though like no interaction or dialogue or anything we've seen of Yuta this far has shown that he is capable of that. If anything, we've proven just the opposite with the last couple of episodes, where at almost every opportunity, he is proven to be like incapable of caring of someone with this disability.
Yeah, it's a weird attempt at like, because I don't know. This guy's whole thing is he's known for making like the shows that are like, it's sad, but everything works out at the end. I think I would rather have just had an ass pull where she's back to normal at the end.
Yeah.
Because at least like it just would have like not felt as weird.
I agree.
Like, I know it was like, oh, well, that's not how it works for regular people in that position. They can't just, like, I'm like, but this is a show where the supercomputer was put in her brain, okay?
Yeah, she had
This
like
is not the normal situation for someone with a disability.
exactly. You're telling me that they can't bullshit something else?
Because
No.
this is the guy who, spoilers for Clanad coming ahead, dude lost his wife, and then his daughter was about to die, and then everything magically gets reset because his daughter in some alternate future timeline thing sends him back to the moment that his daughter was born, and everything's fine. Spoilers for Little Busters coming up. They all died on a bus crash, but then their powers of friendship or whatever, I forget, fixes everything, and everyone lives at the end.
It feels like he didn't even try.
Yeah, the show apparently is pretty unpopular. Like, I guess people have been giving him a lot of shit for it, which, I mean, it's a fictitious thing. Just don't, like, shit on the author for it or, like, personally, like, attack him. But
Yeah, that's weird.
I see why people are unhappy with it.
It is by no means very good, but like you don't gotta attack the writer for that.
Out
People
of
write.
all of the keyworks I've seen, this is definitely one of the weakest. I haven't watched Charlotte, but I've heard Charlotte's pretty bad.
Maybe you'll just have to subject yourself to Charlotte.
I don't know, because I don't want to do more of Jun Maeda's stuff if this is kind of going to be the mark of quality of it. I
No,
think he is legitimately peaked.
what we need to do is we need to start a series where we watch all of his, we consume all of his media, and then we rank them
But most of it's
from.
visual novels, and the anime adaptations aren't usually as good.
That's
Clanad's
fine.
fine. Little Busters, I didn't really like the adaptation of.
We must rank everything from fine to awful.
We could technically do that as like if we ever find the time and see the actual like need to do so, but we could do like a key month where we'll just consume a different keyword and have to like discuss it.
That sounds awful. Let's not do that.
Some like Clanad's good. It
I
has
think
an Aspal
Clanad's
ending. It's good. Little Busters is good. It has an Aspal ending, but it's good.
Clanad and Little Busters seem to be two shining stars amongst a sea of not good.
People like Canon, but Canon is old as balls.
Who knows how much? If it's really old, who knows how well that holds up?
Summer Pockets just came out. Don't know if that's any good. That's a visual novel though.
We can wait. It's all satire now.
Come on, we can do Key Month. Are you afraid to do Key Month?
No.
I think you're afraid to do
Yeah.
Key Month.
Yeah.
Come on, it's content. We need more content around here. The people want content. They want diverse content.
Does it have to be key month though?
I'd say we could do 07th expansion month, but that's got a lot smaller of a catalog.
What's 07th expansion?
Higurashi, Umineko,
Oh, okay.
Sidonia.
Okay. We can at some point do a key month.
What's another studio that you want to do a month of?
I don't fucking know. We could do a month of Dean.
Well, Dean's an animation studio, so like I'm thinking more of people that like are a studio that's actually a group of creatives and their own individual work coming from it. Because
Yeah,
Dean just animates stuff. Like for
I'm just
example, they didn't do Fate Stay Night or Konosuba. They just got the license to do the animation.
yeah. It's because I don't know a lot of the actual production studios
Type
or
Moon,
like
but I don't know if I like.
no.
I feel like a Type Moon month wouldn't be special because it's just too popular.
I'm gonna shoot down a Type Moon month because that means we'll probably have to do fucking Last Encore.
We probably won't just because of how much Fate shit there is, but also we could watch the Tsukihime anime that doesn't exist.
Yeah, let's just watch an anime that doesn't exist.
No, it does exist, but it doesn't exist if you catch my drift.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like no one will acknowledge that it happened.
That's might be even worse.
Yeah,
I don't know. There's a lot of ideas in there.
We still have to do something related to visual novels. We're gonna do Ian Plays Eroge.
Yeah.
I noticed the
I'm
other
a
day that Steam releases Eroge now.
Yep, it does.
I didn't know that because I don't use Steam that much for like a few select games. And then I just
Nope.
looked and I'm like, oh.
There's a lot.
I went
Like,
on yesterday because I'm like, oh, they're having a winter sale. Wonder what they got on there. And I'm like, excuse me? Fuda Fix, Dick, Dine, and Dash.
yes.
And I thought, wait, they can release this on Steam?
Steam has decided to up their catalog game.
And they're advertising this like next to like, all right, you got Fuda, Dick, Dine, and Dash next to Fallout 4 and Cyberpunk and Skyrim.
I love how just unabashedly unashamed they are of it. Like, yeah, fuck it. We've got all these Eroge. Just play some of that. Or, you could play Fallout 4. Tell me again about this Eroge catalog. That was everybody. That was our joke on the Fallout 4 quality. I hope you all enjoyed it.
I never played it, so I'm not sure.
It was fine.
But yeah, 2021 is going to be the year of new content.
Yeah, we'll think
We're
of
going to
some
do
good
something.
shit. We're
I'm
gonna
still
think
saying
of
Key
something.
Month just because, for better or for worse, there's probably some sort of like joy and sorrow we can find from there. Oh, you know what's a key work that people think is overrated, but I still kind of like?
What?
Angel Beats.
Angel Beats is a key work?
Yep.
Oh.
Same guy as this. Jun Maeda.
You know what? I'm suddenly feeling a lot better about Key Month.
Yeah. Also, you have to watch Clanad.
I do.
You know why? Because I have the steelbook of it, and I remember I bought that for Nick too, I think. Or I bought Clanad for Nick once because I know he really likes it. He got super into it that the day after, because I watched it in high school and I told him to watch it then. He called out, he didn't go to school the day after he watched the super sad episode.
Oh my god.
It hit him that hard.
That's so good. That feels very much like Nick. I'd say that hits very true to the core of his person.
I haven't watched it again though since high school, and I feel like it would be really weird to watch it now because I'm like, all right, because it's Clanad and Clanad After Story. Both are like 24 episodes, and After Story is mostly where the stuff happens. So that's like 24 episodes of just slice of life high school hijinks for the first part.
That seems real good.
Yeah, no, it's good and all. It's just like I remember I miss having that kind of time. Anime during high school is just a different experience.
I had all of Christmas week off, and it still took me 3 days to watch the original run of Higurashi.
Yeah, to watch part 1, and then after you haven't started Ray yet, right? The answer arcs or Kai.
Kai.
Yeah,
I haven't
Kai's the
started
answers.
Kai yet. That's gonna take me even fucking longer because now I'm gonna be back at work, so I'm gonna have less time to watch it.
You know what's a series I really liked that I watched in high school? Actually, you were there with me at Anime Boston when I bought from Manga Gamer the visual novel version of it. F, A Fairy Tale of the Two.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, because I remember that was a Shaft production. Like, well, Shaft didn't make it, but they did the anime for it, and that was one of the few Shaft anime I really like because usually I don't like Shaft style. But that was really good because I remember one time in high school, just like I stayed up all night and just watched the entire show. Like I had school the next day, but I was like, I don't care. I'm just gonna watch it.
Damn, can't pull that stuff now.
No, actually, that was really nice. That I got F during the Sentai Filmworks sale. Oh, speaking of Sentai Filmworks, they do a lot of sales.
They do.
Their stuff is usually super cheap,
It
unlike
is.
specifically Aniplex of America, which everything is always really expensive.
What's this building up to?
Nothing too crazy, but I got the dudes some Christmas presents.
All the dudes?
I got the dudes some Christmas presents, you included.
I'm glad to be one of them.
Yeah. So I got some cheap DVDs for everybody. James, I got because he doesn't watch it, so I can spoil it here. I got James an Initial D video.
I'm sure he'll love that.
I got Tyler Girls und Panzer.
Something he was talking about.
I forgot what I got, Nick. I got you something, but I can't tell you. And then, as far as the others go, they really wouldn't appreciate it whatsoever, so I'm not going to bother.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
I would say don't waste your time on them.
But yeah, moral of this is they have good prices. Fuck a Nipalex, because I want to own the Kara no Kyokai Blu-ray, but that's like $300 for 8 90-minute movies.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That is...
And Aniplex sucks.
That's disgusting.
All of their Blu-rays are ridiculously expensive because they're like, we don't want the Japanese to buy Blu-rays at American prices, so we're just going to sell them super expensive either way.
Ugh.
Yeah, I hate it.
What a disgusting practice.
Whereas Sentai Filmworks is like, hey, you want this entire 26-episode series for $6.99?
Hey, do you want all of Higurashi on Blu-ray for like $30?
Yeah, do you want the entirety of Higurashi, Higurashi Kai, Higurashi Rei for $30?
I think that's what I spent on it, because like I remember I got it super cheap.
They have ridiculously good deals.
Sentai, you guys keep it up. You guys are not on the shit list. Aniplex, you're deep in that shit list.
We are not paid by Sentai Filmworks, but in a way we kind of are with all the money we save.
Exactly. And should they deign to send us money or shit to watch, that is also acceptable currency.
We'll even promote High Dive, even though it's not very good.
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. I'll pimp the shit out of High Dive if it means I get free stuff.
Yeah.
I have no standards or shame. Let's talk about Higurashi.
Yeah, even though we just talked about Higurashi.
Let's talk about Higurashi Gou.
So, yeah. This is finally one where I'm left with a lot of questions.
I'm glad I'm not the only one, because this one hits like a fucking Mack truck. It hits like the Isekai truck.
Everyone gets together outside of the Child Welfare Services place, and they're all protesting. You got the mayor there, and Oishi shows up, and he kind of gives Keiichi and his friends the business by being like, legally, you can't be protesting on government property. It's like, all right, well, then we won't protest on our property. We'll protest in the street. You can't do that without the regional governor giving you permission for that.
He's doing the cop
BS.
thing.
Yeah. But then we see after when he goes back with the other cop, he's actually kind of playing the bad guy. Because he's actually like almost setting up Keiichi to be kind of like the hero of this whole thing.
He's given them a face that Keiichi can actually stand up to.
Which is nice, because Keiichi is... Because Oishi's normally a very, like, good character. Even if he's kind of like a rough cop, he still kind of has everyone's best interest in mind, which is why the end of this is just so crazy to hear about.
Yeah.
But yeah, the chairman of the Child Welfare Services is a huge coward that's like hiding inside. He's like, I have some business today. I gotta go. It's like, you're gonna go out there into that mob? I heard during the Dam War, this mob got violent, like super violent. And he's like, maybe I don't need to do my business today. It's not that urgent. I'll just stay inside.
I'll just hide in here until we have to leave.
And then he eventually gets a call because, the Sonozakis eventually show up with the Shion and Mion's uncle, as well as one of their cousins or something, who is a lawyer, who immediately goes into, we know our rights situation. I read the city code.
I'm a lawyer. I know all the laws.
But everyone props up Keiichi for being the leader, and then they eventually get the assistant director of the Child Welfare Services to go and immediately visit the Hojo household. And Oishi, done playing the villain routine, is like, hey, I'll actually take him there. And they're like, wait, you decided to be the good guy? He's like, I just wanted to show, because since I'm a cop, the Hojos have to let me in. Meaning I can show this guy exactly what's going on in the house.
Yeah.
So he basically just wanted it to be all legit and kosher. And so they go, And Keiichi then calls Satoko on the phone, and she ends up telling him that she called out when the cops came that she needed help instead of just trying to put up a brave front. And then Teppei got really pissed off, started attacking her, but then Oishi and all the other cops arrested him and took him away.
Yeah.
So it seems to be over. And it's not even the night of the Watanagashi festival.
They did it. They solved the problem before the Watanagashi festival, and nothing ever went wrong again.
And then the night of the festival happens, and as they're watching Rika's dance, Satoko pulls Keiichi away. And then in a really weird conversation, she's like, "Hey, can I start calling you Nini?
Yeah.
What I call my missing brother?"
It's weird. And I was like, I don't know what to make of this scene.
And then know things were getting bad, where she takes him back to her house. She's like, "I want to give you something that was super important to my Nini, but now I'm going to give it to you." And so they head back to the house, and she's like, "Now just wait in there." And it's a super dark room. And then all of a sudden, a bat goes and hits Keiichi in the head, and it turns out it's Teppei.
Teppei has broken free from the cops, or something's happened where
Teppei's there, and he's like, "You little shit, you think you're gonna mess with me?" And then Keiichi goes kind of, fight or flight survival mode, and then takes the bat from him and just starts beating Teppei's head in.
So much like the original ending to this one, Keiichi ends up beating Teppei's skull into a fine paste.
Yep, and so he passes out, and then he wakes up at the hospital, and then Oishi's assistant comes in, and he's like, "Hey, I'm here to ask you if you remember anything of that night." He's like, "Satoko took me to her household, and sorry, my head hurts too much, I can't remember." He's like, "That's all right, just call me if you remember anything." And then Rena goes and visits him, and he's like, "Rena, enough with the lies or the secrets. Tell me, why haven't Mion, Satoko, Shion, or Rika come to visit me at all?" And then she's like, "It's probably good you went to Satoko's house, because during the night of the festival, Oishi showed up, and he drew his gun, and then she starts hysterically crying and saying things about how, like, we were so close, everything was going back to normal." So you assume Oishi went and killed all the other characters?
Yeah, it sounds like Oishi went a little Hinamizawa syndrome.
Which is weird, because in all of the other ones, he's never had it.
Exactly. And then just shows up at the festival and starts gunning people down. Like, what the fuck?
Also, he kills the kids specifically.
Yeah.
And the weird part is, too, like, he has a Japanese cop pistol, which is not a very, like, high caliber thing. Like, it can't hold that many. So that means he just went and killed the kids and then probably got stopped by a crowd.
Yeah. Something's got to go wrong. That's baseline knowledge for this one. I would have been really surprised if everything just went great and it was fine.
Because we're still in the question arcs.
Exactly.
But that's the thing. What I'm also thinking, it seems like Satoko specifically led him there to get beaten by Teppei.
Yeah. So what did she do? Like, what's up with Satoko?
I think Satoko is kind of the key of this whole, like, new series. Because remember in the one with Mion, her and Satoko went and killed each other at the end of that arc? Which is really weird.
Yeah, because normally Satoko just gets captured.
Yeah, so what is happening?
One of the things that I was wondering is, like, what if instead of another person being brought into the time loop thing, the alternate reality time loop thing, to try and fix it, what if someone's entering the time loop thing to fuck up the timelines, like to make stuff even worse? And what if it's Satoko being more of a villain?
That's the only thing I could think of. Also, they kind of hinted at Umineko, which means witches might be a thing, because you just got to the answers or something. But, like, because I don't believe the questions introduces Hanyu.
No.
Yeah, Hanyu is that figure she was talking to in episode 2. It's basically like the deity spirit of Hinamizawa, and she's normally the one that helps out, like, Rika and is the cause for Rika's looping. to try to
Okay.
like help Rika fix the situation. But Hanyu has no power anymore, so someone else is technically doing all of this.
Who could it be?
Who could it be now?
Now.
But yeah, we're starting a new arc next week. I don't know if it's going to be another question one or if we're moving to the answers.
Yeah, I would kind of hope that we're moving to the answers, because if we're moving to another question one, then that would probably mean either we're not going to get all the answers we want out of this one out of Goal, or they're planning another season that I don't want to wait for.
I think they're probably going to do two, like split it in half. So I think the next one's going to be more questions. I'm just wondering which one they're going to flip, because every single arc so far has been like an alternate version of one of the other answer arcs or one of the
Yeah.
other question arcs. I think the only other one is the Satoshi one. Actually, no, this one was the Satoshi one.
Yeah, this one was the Satoshi one. I think it goes Satoshi.
Because you have a better idea now than I did, because you've just seen it recently. I saw it in high school. The first one is the one where Keiichi kills Rena and Mion because Keiichi goes crazy.
I think the next one is the
Mion,
one where
the Mion Shion one with the doll, because he gave the doll to Rena in the original.
Yep.
So it
And
flips
then
it on its head in this one and Go, where he gives it to Mion.
And then she still kind of ends up a little crazy, but for different. Man, watching Shion's perspective on that one was fucking crazy, dude. But I think the next one is the one where Rena takes everyone hostage because she kills Teppei and Teppei's girlfriend.
Yeah, so I think it's the last one's the Rena one, I think, of the questions, because this was the Satoshi one. The Rena one makes sense because I think they tried to set it up in the trailers too, or like the ending credits, because the ending credits scene goes from like Teppei holding on to a scared Satoko to Rena and her alcoholic dad in the background.
Yeah.
So I think the next one's going to be the Rena one.
And you know what? Satoko plays a key part in the original one because she's the one who helps Keiichi figure out the deal with the bomb that Rena plants. So she's in a
that's
good
the arc where they
position.
fight on the rooftop, right?
Yeah, it ends with a it ends with a moonlit backed fight on top of the school.
Yeah, so I think we're doing that one, and then after we'll move on to the answers.
Shit, I don't know. It's crazy. I get so many questions. How are they gonna flip that one on its head? Because that one went mostly right. Mostly.
Hey,
I don't know.
I'm excited to see what they're doing with that, just because again, Oishi's never really done anything like that.
Me too. I think the way they ended up flipping this one in multiple ways, even, I think the way they did that kind of, because I was interested in this, but it hadn't really super grabbed me with anything. But seeing just how bonkers this one went, like this went sideways as fuck. I think that one really, it kind of, it grabbed me, It just grabbed me.
Yeah, I'm just into it. I like Higurashi. I'm just hoping again that this is all building up to something, not just like, hey, this is just a slight variation of everything you see. Also, I hope just if it is witches and they're gonna tie it into Umineko, it means something.
Yeah, instead of just being a, hey, here's a reference to that other thing. How cool is that?
Here's a reference to the Umineko remake that we were always supposed to have.
Oh no.
I would actually take an Umineko remake though.
I mean, I think that'd be cool, but it would be disappointing if all this was an excuse to tie them together to lead up to that.
Unless they have, hey, you have a new transfer student coming to your school. He's a rich kid named Uroshimiya Battler.
That's the character's name?
Battler?
That's a great name.
Yeah, it's the main character of Umineko.
That dude's got a great name, dude.
He's a cool character. He's voiced by Daisuke Ono.
It sounds like he's pretty dope all the way through.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. Also, I recommend to read the Umineko manga, because I realized recently that it had a manga, so you don't have to read the visual novel if you don't want to, and the manga is pretty good and overseen by the creator himself.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Also, it's fucking long. Umineko is a long series. Like, it's a long visual novel. Like, I saw a picture of just all the manga volumes stacked up on each other, and I was like, wow.
Jesus.
They thick books.
Got a thick ass collection of manga.
I know it's like the visual novel is way longer than Lord of the Rings.
Jesus.
I think it's longer than Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit or something.
That is so long. Holy shit.
But you gotta think too, it's looping and resetting, so.
Yeah. And technically, in terms of literature, The Hobbit is just one book.
Yeah. Whereas Lord of the Rings is like 3.
Yeah, it's a volume of... It's
It's longer than The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, and the Silmarillion.
I've never read the Silmarillion.
I haven't either. Dude, I haven't read Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings is a pretty good series. The
I've
Hobbit...
seen the movies, and I was like, this is aight.
The Hobbit's okay. The book is like... I feel like the movie is way more palatable to more people than the books would be, because the book is like super Tolkien lore heavy. Everything has a fucking story behind it in a Tolkien book.
I thought the Hobbit movies though were terrible compared to the book, but I'm assuming that's only because they turned one book into 3 films.
You are assuming correctly. They should not have done that. But everything's got to be in a trilogy or a series these days. It was a dumb decision, but whatever.
Whatever.
If you want to stick with us to learn the answers. Yeah, we got the season awards coming. Stick with us. We'll tell you what was good and what was bad and what was meh.
A lot of
Yeah, there's a lot of that this season.
Are we gonna do a like end of the year awards too?
I don't, because like, what did we watch this year that would really merit a year-long award?
Hold on, let me see.
Because you got the book, so you know what was good and what was.
Last season we only did Kaguya, but the season before that we had, I think our winner was I Hate Getting Hurt, so I put all my skill points into defense.
Yes.
Yeah, this was a bad year.
It was. I think in an attempt to purge this year from history, we should skip the year-end awards.
Yeah, because I think I gave it to Fire Force, I think, the previous season, actually.
Because Fire Force is real good. Fire Force deserved it.
Yeah, that was the summer award, I think.
Yeah, it was a summer award. But hey, you guys, you audience members listening to this right now.
Facebook and Twitter at Protagonist Seat.
Yeah, we got social media, Facebook and Twitter.
Subscribe on Alex YouTube. Said. That's our important metric. You don't even have to watch it on YouTube. It's just that's how we tell success. The world is based around YouTube subscriber numbers.
Indeed. He's not wrong. Listen to us on other podcatcher platforms. Those are always real good demographics to pull out for like anytime I'm dealing with stuff on the podcast level. I can point to those recurring listeners, or as I prefer to do, the monthly downloads, because it seems like every once in a while we'll get a real big monthly spike. And then we always appreciate that. I always appreciate the spikes in numbers, because you got to look at everything as a whole.
You guys are the best.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Keep a lookout for all our stuff. Like, comment, rate, subscribe, whatever your appropriate platform allows. We
See
appreciate
you for the Akudama Drive Award.
Yep. Stay tuned where we give Akudama Drive basically all of the awards next week. And share us with a friend, with anyone you so desire who likes anime, or maybe who doesn't like anime and just wants to listen to 2 dudes talk about random shit along with anime. As always, our phenomenal OP song was composed specifically for us by the illustrious Popskyy. Anyway, goodbye. Class dismissed.